Advancing Data-Driven Decision-Making at University XYZ, a proposal for campus-wide student data analytics presented by Stephanie Gonzalez, Chief Technology Officer. So with roughly 8,000 students and roughly 650 staff and an annual budget of roughly 100.4 million, we have a strategic opportunity to harness our existing data across the student lifecycle from admissions to alumni to improve performance, retention, reporting, and institutional planning. So the challenge, we currently have data silos. At financial aid, admissions, marketing, student life, registration and retention, alumni engagement all maintain separate data sets. And so because of this fragmentation, there is a lack of single source of truth for student data metrics. There's manual reporting, delayed insights, and reactive rather than proactive decisions. And there's also, importantly, missed opportunities, things like targeting marketing more effectively, predicting at-risk students, optimizing financial aid yield, and engaging alumni strategically. And generally speaking, in the higher ed sector, institutions are increasingly seeing analytics and AI as major strategic priorities. And so the recommended solution and also platform overview will be discussed in this section. The platform selected is Edify by EAB, the Educational Advisory Board. And so why Edify? It is built specifically for higher education. It integrates to separate systems like SIS, LMS, CRM, and ERP into one unified cloud-native data platform. And it includes a data warehouse and data lake architecture. Also strong data governance tools, self-service analytics, and dashboards. And it is also pre-built, it also has pre-built analytic accelerators for common institutional priorities, things like admissions and enrollment, retention, financial aid, course planning, etc. And it is also vendor agnostic and scalable, designed to break down data silos. And so how this helps, in admissions and marketing, there's better insight into funnel yield, segmentation, and marketing ROI. In financial aid, there's understanding relationship between aid packets, yield, retention, and graduation. In registration and retention, helps predict at-risk students, intervenes earlier, helps intervene earlier, and optimizes course scheduling. And in student life, combines engagement, co-curricular, retention, and attrition data to support student success. With alumni engagement, it links alumni outcomes back to student life cycle data to improve fundraising and engagement strategy. And for reporting and strategy, it provides leadership dashboards and decision support tools rather than ad hoc statistic reports. So estimated cost. The vendor does not publish a fixed pricing publicly, but we can estimate based on comparable higher ed implementations. The Edify's pricing model is composed of an annual platform fee, which is hosting, storage, and maintenance, plus professional services, which is integration, change management, strategy, and strategy hours. And similar implementations of this, of Edify, the University of Hawaii approved a roughly 7.4 million 5-year subscription for Edify and other EAB product for 1.48 million a year. And this is as of 2005, so this year. And so for University XYZ with 8,000 students and a budget of roughly 100 million, platform fee estimate is going to be 300 to 400,000 annually, scaled for size. Initial implementation for 1 year of professional services is going to be roughly 150 to 250,000. And the total 1 year cost estimate is roughly 450 to 650,000. And finally, the ongoing annual cost, so 2 years and onward, is going to be 300 to 400,000. And I'd wanted to note also that we can adjust exact pricing once the vendor provides the quote. This just uses a conservative estimate for planning. And so benefits to University XYZ. So strategic and operational benefits include Got to change my slide here. So benefits to University XYZ. Like I said, strategic and operational benefits include a unified data ecosystem, which is one trusted source of truth across campus. 2, improved reporting and dashboards, which will provide faster, accurate, actionable insights for leadership rather than statistic reports. And 3, targeted recruitment and aid optimization will provide better yield, better financial aid investment, improved enrollment outcomes. And number 4, retention and student success. Predictive analytics to identify students at risk help us intervene earlier and reduce attrition. And then 5, operational efficiency, fewer manual data pulls, less siloed work, more self-service analytics for users, and freeing staff's time. And then 6 is alumni and advancement synergy, closer link between student life cycle and alumni outcomes to drive engagement and fundraising. And then 7, data governance and compliance. The benefits include a stronger framework for data quality, lineage, security, and compliance with FERPA, for example, and other regulations. And then number 8 is strategic planning and scenario modeling. We'll have a better ability to model enrollment, financial aid budgets, tuition revenue, and program cost/return. And in general, industry research supports that using analytics in higher education can significantly improve student outcomes and institutional performance. So some potential risks and mitigations for those risks. So we'll start with the potential security and governance risks, which include data privacy and compliance. So student and alumni data include personally identifiable information, or PII. We must ensure compliance with FERPA, GDPR if applicable, and internal data use policies. Data integration risk. Pulling to separate systems together introduces the risk of improper linkage, mismatching, data quality issues, or exposure to sensitive data. And then access control and insider risk. With broader access comes risk of inappropriate access or misuse, like, for example, marketing staff having access to sensitive student health or financial aid data. And there's also vendor/cloud risk. So because this platform is cloud native, we must evaluate the vendor's security posture. So like encryption, certification, SOC, audits, data location, and backups. And there's also the risk of data governance and trust issues. So if data is inaccurate or self-service tools are misused, there's a risk of garbage in, garbage out, quote, or leaders losing trust in analytics. And so there's also the risk of change management and uptake. So if users are not trained or processes don't change, tools may underdeliver. There's a risk of low adoption or shadow systems persisting. And so with that are some mitigation strategies. First being establish a campus-wide data governance committee before the rollout. And second being define role-based access controls, low-level security, audit logs, and vendor contract review. And the third being conduct vendor security due diligence, so encryption at rest and in transit, certifications, data residency, and rights on exit. And so data quality assurance program will involve cleaning, lineage, cataloging, metadata, and definitions aligned to campus domains. And then there's also training and change management plan. This includes user training and champions in each department for a phased rollout. And then lastly, mitigation strategy to pilot and monitor adoption metrics and adjusting staff and resourcing accordingly. And so this leads us to rollout and governance plan, years 0 through 2. So phase 1 would be plan and prepare, months 0 through 4. And this includes three important points. First being form cross-department project team. Second being audit systems and define data governance. And third being to finalize the contract with the vendor. And so that leads us to phase 2, which is to implement and pilot months 5 through 12, where we'll integrate key systems like SIS, CRM, or LMS. We will launch pilot dashboards, so admissions and financial aid first, and then train power users and gather feedback. Which leads us to phase 3, the campus rollout, months 13 through 24. We will expand to all departments, so marketing, student life, and alumni, and then roll out self-service dashboards across campus. And lastly, establish quarterly adoption reviews. And then, so that leads us to phase 4, which is sustain and optimize, year 3 and beyond. So this is also another 3 points. First being embedded analytics into daily decision making. Second being continuous data quality audits and staff training. And lastly, annual ROI and impact reporting to cabinet. And so measuring success and key metrics. Success metrics to track within the first 24 months are adoption metrics, which is the percent of users accessing dashboards and number of self-service reports generated. And then there's also data quality metrics to be tracked. So this is the percent of key data elements with accepted definitions and reduction in manual reconciliation time. And then it's admissions and enrollment metrics, improvement in application to offer yield, marketing cost per enrolled student. And there's financial aid metrics, yield improvement for key aid segments, and average time to build aid allocation models. Then there's also retention and success metrics, reduction in first to second year attrition, number of early alerts generated, and interventions completed. And then there's alumni engagement metrics, which is increase in alumni giving rate and improve segmentation of alumni by student life cycle data. And then operational efficiency metrics is a reduction in hours spent by IR/IT on ad hoc reporting and cost savings for more efficient scheduling or program consolidation. And finally, strategic outcomes, better line of sight from data to strategic planning, more accurate forecasting of tuition revenue, and stronger decision making at the cabinet level. And so with that, back to budget and return on investment. So estimated year 1 cost is $450,000 to $650,000. The estimated annual cost thereafter is $300,000 to $400,000, and the estimated return in benefits for the first 2 to 3 years are as follows. So if we reduce attrition by just 1% point, say roughly 80 students, and an average revenue per student is roughly $20,000, we save $1.6 million roughly in retained tuition in 1 year. And so improved recruitment and marketing yield. If we improve the yield by 0.5% point on 5,000 roughly applicants or applications, that is an additional roughly 25 enrolled students. So that's going to be times 20,000 is going to equal 500,000. And so efficiency savings are another benefit. So there's fewer manual reports, better scheduling, administrative time saved, perhaps 150 to 300,000. And so combined potential payback of the initial investment is going to be within roughly 18 to 24 months. And longer term benefits are going to be a better alumni engagement life cycle that will generate increased gift income, improved forecasting and financial planning, and less waste in courses and programs. And additionally, we will track ROI and report to the cabinet annually. So finally, the next steps and recommendations. For the recommendation, we need to approve funding for the platform implementation. So year 1 budget of roughly $500,000 as part of next year's budget. Authorize the CTO and IR team to negotiate the contract with Edify and execute project plan. And then establish governance steering team and allocate internal source resources. And then begin the project in the first quarter of next year, and aim to have the first working dashboards and reports available within 12 months of kickoff. And finally, commit to quarterly updates to the President and Cabinet on progress, adoption, and ROI measures. And so immediate next steps within the next 30 days. One would be to perform project steering committee and identify departmental leads. 2, finalize the request for the proposal or contract negotiation with the vendor. 3, secure a budget line for year 1 in the university operating plan. And 4, communicate the initiative to campus leadership and begin change management planning. And so with that, that concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time.